this should be a much better final encounter. First, we have to fight you again. So basically the same fight, but not entirely. It's a little more complicated now. Most notably, you can't always destroy the platforms in one like that. They get stronger each time he brings them back. Also, these skeletons are a stronger type. Also a little more flighty and hard to hit the platform he's on before he jumps off. He likes to jump right after jumping and stuff. Hopefully just one more, but he's liable to survive by a thread. Nope, we got him. Nice. Okay. Hopefully I'll be able to do the final boss without wasting a whole bunch of time missing the proper kill condition repeatedly. But that shouldn't be a problem. Oh, hello. Thank you for the raid. We are just about to get into the final boss here, so that should be exciting. Fish rate is important. So, this is my second time finishing the game. This game has 3 different routes you can take. They determine who your final character is and stuff like that. This fight is still basically the same, probably, but because I know a bit more about what I'm doing, my character is a lot stronger, so this shouldn't be a problem, but we'll see what happens. I do have a fair bit less defense, is the bigger issue, but we'll be fine. Now we get to hear the final boss talk about how evil dragons are or something. Propaganda. Dragons are good. So here's the part where we start to succumb to the evil, and they are going to try to make us a dragon so that we're no longer an enemy. But we do the stereotypical survive by the miraculous telepathy of our friends. As we go, it'll go through phases. The coolest thing about this fight is that the shockwaves do this, like, actually reverberating the surface of the playing field. That's the cool part. Okay, now we're getting into the prisons. It basically just makes it a little harder to avoid if he does a fireball. You get stuck in one, but they really vacuum you in. Okay. There's phase 1 down. Now he becomes a big dragon. It doesn't really change a whole ton. In fact, I would say the patterns in this phase are a bit easier. The hard part is the purple puffs. one of the main difficulties of the fight is only vulnerable in the face. So you can't just like sneak around him and cut the tail a whole bunch like it's Monster Hunter. Also, depth perception kind of is a problem sometimes. Like, it's hard to tell when something is ahead or behind you, or if it's right in your face. Particularly when it comes to further or closer to the screen. Go. Yeah, the character for this particular endgame is literally just like a huge coward who's doing the thing because nobody else can, and has to be forced into it to not just go coward it up. I really don't like the shockwaves on the fireballs because it's extremely hard to not get hit by them. And after he does a fireball also tends to be when he's most vulnerable. And you're just spending that whole time being interrupted. Okay. Elfar is out, but he's not dead. Have to... I have to hit him in the head to finish him off, but... I have historically had extremely bad luck with getting it to actually register that killing blow. Oh, come on. Okay, please work this time. Come on. There we go. Works better if you're, like, square on like that, instead of trying to hit the head from the side, even though that doesn't really make sense to me. the sword. It makes a horrible noise. So ultimately, this boss isn't like extremely complicated or involved. Most of the difficulty comes from the fact that it's hard to actually get your hits to register. Because he keeps doing things that are extremely hard to not get hit by at bad times. And generally having a small vulnerable hitbox. But that's what you have a whole bunch of HP and MP for, to last long enough to get the hits you need in. Yeah, most of the bosses in this game are either... Well, okay, every one of them doesn't really have super complex mechanics, but it's kind of a crapshoot whether or not they'll be extremely easy because you can just punish them all the time, or extremely drawn out because they don't let you punish them ever. They love to give bosses lengthy iframes to make sure they always get attacks in and you don't hit them for like 5 seconds after you knock them down. Ultimately, the game itself is really enjoyable. Like, pushing the buttons feels rewarding, to put it simply. But some of the design decisions are either too simple to be fun, or too, like, complicated. Complicated's not the right word, but it's all about frame advantage. You either have all the frame advantage or none of it, and there's not really a lot of space in between. So this is the end of the second of 3 routes for me. I'm going to do the third one. The first 2 were both these 2 characters, but the only thing that changed is which one you used in Chapter 4 and which one you used in Chapter 5. Also, Mihail ended up fairly different because he had a different father. They're both twins, but apparently Mihail takes after the father and is different on the 2 routes, while Anna takes after the mother and is the same on both routes. Just kind of an interesting touch. There's a lot of neat things with the way this game works with the change of generations between chapters. It determines which character you're using in the following chapter, and also it affects their skills and how effective they are. Like, my jump attack was this big spinning thing. Not everybody has that. The other time I went through, I didn't have a fancy jump attack, but I did have a really good rising uppercut that could hit things even if they were directly in front of you, which was not the case on this time. So they kind of make different... Like, the abilities are all the same, but they give them different properties to make different things more and less useful, to make sure you're always playing a little differently. And I think that's really interesting. Apparently the third route has a very different final character, as opposed to the other two that just have the same two people, but they change roles between. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. There are a lot of really good and interesting ideas in this game. They didn't all really get to pan out, because some of them just kind of led to things falling flat for other reasons. But for the most part, everything is like really rewarding mechanics and feedback and stuff. I need to remember to change the water filter after I'm done, because March is one of the months where I do that. I only remembered because my water tasted a bit odd today, so it must be just a filter getting old. Yeah, anyway, tomorrow I'm going to be starting my second playthrough of Threads of Fate as Mint's story. And then after that's done, I'll come back to this and do the third route. I've been kind of going back and forth between the two. But I'm going to complete all of the routes of both games. After I'm done with these two, I think I'm going to play Golden Sun for the next project. That was a game I played a long time ago. I kind of got stuck and then got distracted and started playing something else instead. It'll be nice to get back into that and see how things go this time. Yeah, it's definitely felt like even the chapters that are the same or not very different between the two routes, it's still interesting to go through them again because you still have like a different character and the items and powers available to you are different. It's just interesting to explore the same areas in a different way. one of the most annoying things about this route is that one of the gameplay features of this lineage was the third hit of your basic combo is an overhead attack instead of another sideways swing. And that is a lot harder to fight groups with, because your first two hits land, then the third one only hits one or two, and then the other one gets an opening on you. So hopefully the third one doesn't have that feature. It was a bit stronger though, I will give it that. It was a really good third hit. The game does present the different routes as loops, though, so it's kind of like a New Game Plus, except you don't actually get anything carried over, other than the fact that you've cleared certain routes. So hopefully I'll get a nice full clear message at the end, instead of a "there are still more dragons to slay" message. Yeah, this one. Very nice rendered swords.